Hey guys, so Alex here for another DVD haul explanation show off thing. I don't know what it is. Um, anyway, I've got some awesome things to show you today. So let's just jump into it. So firstly, picked this up in an op shop for dollars from Columbia Pictures. It is Cruel Intentions 2, and this is the prequel to Cruel Intentions 1, starring Sarah Michelle Gellar. In this one, Amy Adams stars as Catherine, taking over from Sarah Michelle Gellar, and Robin Dunn stars as Sebastian in this film. I haven't actually seen Cruel Intentions 1, it's in the mail right now, but I just thought I should delve into this series, see what it's all about. And can I just say, it's this film wasn't entirely awful. I mean, it's an incredibly short film, at like 84 minutes or something like that. And but that said, Amy Adams and Ryan Dunn do a great job at like giving some interesting banter, giving some cool dynamic there. That said, the last 5 minutes of this film is absolutely awful and kind of turns all the interesting plot points of the entire film inside out and just says, "Oh, well, this is actually a prequel, so like we can't really tie it to the original movie, so let's just get rid of them." And which was really disappointing because they had some really cool elements in this film. Um, Probably my biggest pet peeve with this film is that their depiction of high class life is it's a little bit fictionalized, like 90s style upper class, if that makes sense. So like you're dealing with purely on like kind of fashion terms of like what it appears to be old money. It's unfortunate. Um, Anyway, so basically, Cruel Intentions. It's just explaining how Catherine and Sebastian first meet. Their brother and stepsister, and basically they play these cruel sexual games on each other and the people around them. It's interesting series. Um, an okay film if you like some of those erotic thrillers type of thing. It's not incredibly a thriller. Apparently, this is the first one. Apparently, has a lot of thriller elements. This one doesn't, unfortunately. So anyway, if you're interested in those type of films, you should check it out. I got it for $1, so you can probably find it very cheap. Next one is Cruel Intentions 3, again from Columbia. By the way, all three of them line up really nice in this shelf there. Um, so Cruel Intentions 3, apparently, Carrie, it's much more like Cruel Intentions 1 in that it's actually an erotic thriller. I mean, there's about 5 minutes of this film that's actually an erotic thriller. Most of it's just teen drama and really shitty teen drama, like awfully written. It has no carry on from the first two movies. It's like it could be anything. Really, you should find it in a garbage bin under labeled like 20 cents for a new copy. It's awful film, awful cinematography, awful acting, awful editing. My God, the sex scenes are not interesting, and the acting, just everything about it is awful. If you have to see it just to finish the Cruel Intentions, do it. But I mean, like, you're going to be wasting 82 minutes of your life. I just want to say that. Next is Envy. Okay, so I love this film so much. I think it's one of those gems of Jack Black and Ben Stiller, kind of up in my ranks around like Zoolander. If you haven't seen Envy, it's basically about a neighbor who gets an offer from his neighbor um, to invest in this company called Vaporize, which vaporize dog poo. Anyway, Jack Black makes a ton of money, and Ben Stiller is just envious about it, about not pitching into the original investment, and he would have made millions. It's a funny film. It's got Christopher Walken in it. It's got a ton of awesome people in it, and it's also done by Barry Levinson, who did Happy Madison, peak of Adam Sandler's career. Like a great film if you're just interested in a lighthearted comedy. Next up, Punch Drunk Love. Speaking of Adam Sandler, so this is a P.T. Anderson film. P.T. Anderson did like There Will Be Blood, Inherent Vice, Boogie Nights, tons of great films. So just released a few months ago, Phantom Thread. Anyway, this follows Adam Sandler. He's a novelty salesman with severe social anxiety and a little bit of, and some anger issues surrounding these social issues. And his sister's trying to force love on him, and he finally meets Emily Watson, who really awkward character, and they kind of have this little romance, this little quirky romance. Really nice film, like 90 minutes long. It's just you get so emotionally invested into the characters. Great film if you haven't seen it. You have to check it out. If you love P.T. Anderson, you got to check it out. If you love Emily Watson from The Newsroom, she's incredible. Adam Sandler, it's probably the best film I've ever seen Adam Sandler in, and that includes like Men, Women, Children, and a few others. Um, yeah, it's just a great film. You got to check it out. If you love P.T. Anderson, you have to. Moving on now to my full moon collection. My full moon DVDs that I got. So I got Jess Franco's Barbed Wire Dolls. I just want to say I don't understand why this film in particular was released on Blu-ray, because this is the only film that Full Moon have released on Blu-ray from Jess Franco. There are so many great Jess Franco films, and I just don't understand why this particular one was released on Blu-ray. Basically, it follows. It's a typical living in prison movie. I mean, it follows a woman who's captured for for killing her father in this after his rape attempt, and there's a lesbian warden who has cruel sexual punishers, and it's a bit of that stuff. I mean, is it brutal? It's not the most brutal film. Is it sleazy? It's not the most sleazy film. I mean, sure, it's up there, but it's not Jess Franco's most sleazy or brutal film, and it's kind of disappointing because Jess Franco shines so much in sleaze and so much in psychosexual cinema, and I don't think Barbed Wire Dolls is the pinnacle. Just speaking about the Blu-ray for a second, it has like a one interview with Jess Franco, but it also doesn't have the original subbed version, which I'm really annoyed at. It's only the dubbed version. So unfortunate. I wish it had more, but you know, it's still. I'm sorry. You might think that I'm knocking this film, but it's just not his best. It's a good film if you love trash exploitation, a lot of sleaze. Sorry, a lot of sleaze. You'll like this film, but it's just not his best. Moving on now to a film that I absolutely loved. It's Mad Foxes. So this is released from Full Moon, and this is an awesome film. This is a trash exploitation film. My God, it's crazy. It goes a mile an hour, like a million miles an hour. It's basically like a neo-Nazi bike gang called the Mad Foxes assaults these two people, and the man gets his like ninja friends to beat them up, and then the ninjas, they get defeated, and then the bikie gang go after this guy again, and it's just like this constant revenge battle, plot points turning and changing. Oh my gosh, there's so much. It's so crazy. Sure, it's not the most violent or sleazy film, but it is so much fun. It only goes for like 80 minutes. What is it? 80 minutes, and it's just every minute you love. The soundtrack is awesome. The characters are just crazy. It's got some of that awesome Italian sleaze in it, and just awesome Italian cinematography in it. This is actually produced by Dietrich, who produced a lot of Jess Franco films, incidentally, and Barbed Wire Dolls. Anyway, you got to check out Mad Foxes if you're into Italian sleaze, if you're into any type of sleaze. This is the king of trashy, sleazy films, in that it is great. It's just super fun. Moving on now. Last film from Full Moon. So I got Specters. This is free with the other two DVDs. Specters is such an average film. It's basically a found footage. It's a found footage film about these behind the scenes filmmakers who kind of shedding some light on a full feature, a big budget feature film. Does it look like a big budget feature film that they're filming? No, my God, it doesn't. They're shooting in an asylum, and then they start to see some like weird supernatural stuff happen, and eventually, crew is killed and stuff like that. It's nothing that you haven't seen before. They also run into similar problems of found footage films. I tend to notice that like it includes scenes that aren't technically found footage, which really shits me, by the way. Um, yeah, I mean, like, probably the best part of this film is the banter between the behind the scenes team. It's pretty interesting. There's some kind of sex stuff in the film, like a little bit of sexuality and sleaze. It's pretty mild, but I mean, like, if you're interested in something it's like a 78-minute film, if you like your lo-fi horror, kind of like independent films, you might like it. Give it a try. It's not like not worth your time, but I mean, I just didn't particularly like it. Anyway, moving on now to a film from Reel. So this is Connie and Carla. This is an awesome film. I remember seeing it when I was like 7 at the cinemas. It's basically like Muriel's Wedding meets The Birdcage with Nathan Lane and the legend Robin Williams. Basically, this follows Connie and Carla as they travel from Australia to LA to find the drag capital. And they want to put on a show, but obviously they're women, and back in this time, it was like weird for women to put on a drag show. So they pretend to be men, dressing up as women. It's super funny film, ultra Australian humor, and just a good laugh, especially if you like, The Birdcage, Muriel's Wedding, if you like My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Well, you get 2 of the stars right there. But, you're going to love this film. It's great release from Reel. Moving on now to Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. Got this at an op shop for $1. Honestly, I got it for the case. It's yellow and cool artwork. I dug it. This film is cool. It basically... Sorry, who was the director? Peter Sellers. I mean, like, it's nothing amazing. It's like the music equivalent without fighting of Scott Pilgrim versus the World, I guess. In that it like immerses itself in 2000s culture. It's cool. Like Michael Cera's good, Kat Dennings good. If you like teenage romantic music comedies, well, this film is pretty good. It's got an awesome soundtrack and awesome cameo from Jay Baruchel. Sorry, not cameo. He's in it for a little bit. But yeah, check it out if you're interested. Lastly, on the Blu-ray front, got What Happens in Vegas. Now I got this for 50 cents new at an op shop. It still had the $20 sticker from JB Hi-Fi. Now I don't know why anyone would pay $20 for this film. It's absolute shit. It shows the low point of Cameron Diaz and Ashton Kutcher, and they can be good actors occasionally. Basically, it follows them as they wake up in Las Vegas the day after apparently getting married drunk. And the judge is like, well, you can't get a divorce because I'm a hard-ass judge and, I have no respect for you guys. So they have to live with each other being married. It's not a good film. The banter is minimal and shit. But, good acting from Rob Corddry, who sustains us during this shit show. Now, lastly, my awesome find for this week, which is Wim Wenders' collection from Madman Director's Suite. So this is 15 films. I know it says 13, but it's actually 15 films from Wim Wenders. So let's hop into it. I love this. I got this from eBay for about $50. Love it. So firstly, we got Paris, Texas on the Director's Suite label. Now this film is actually going for like $40 on eBay from this label. Like it's almost Criterion level expensive. Crazy. Awesome film, obviously, and I think there's some, okay. So you've got the surround sound on this, it's awesome to hear it. It was remastered just for this edition. I love that. I absolutely love that. Next, we've got the Wim Wenders documentaries. Now, this covers awesome documentaries from Wim Wenders. Like, this made me love him so much. Okay, so firstly, it's got Tokyo Ga, which basically explains his fascination with Ozu, the famous Japanese director, and he goes to Japan trying to find Ozu's version of Tokyo and struggles to find it. It's such an interesting, self-aware documentary. Next, we've got notebook on cities and clothing, and clothes, which is about Yoji Yamamoto and the famous Japanese fashion designer, and kind of his interaction with Wim Wenders and what's going on in the fashion world. It's interesting documentary, definitely. Then you've got a short documentary called Room 666, which basically is Wim Wenders setting up a video camera and asking filmmakers at Cannes in 1982 what they think the future of cinema is. It's really interesting if you're interested in like directors' interviews and seeing the mind behind a director. It's interesting. Next, we've got Wim Wenders on film. This is an awesome collection. Includes some really cool stuff that you probably wouldn't see normally. So it includes, firstly, Lightning Over Water, also known as Nick's Movie. So this film, it's basically the last few moments of Nicholas Ray, the director of Rebel Without a Cause. I think it's like the last 2 weeks of his life, 2 or 3 weeks of his life. And Wim Wenders, they try and make this fictional movie, but it's kind of like a semi-pseudo documentary about their friendship. Really interesting film, only 90 minutes, definitely worth checking out if you're interested in the versatility of documentary. Next on this, we've got The State of Things. The State of Things is actually a narrative feature, apparently based on the events of what happened in trying to film Roger Corman's 1955 The Day the World Ended. It's basically like, in this film, filmmakers are stuck stranded in Portugal without any film or money after the producer flees. Really interesting film, shot beautifully. Oh my gosh, you can see Ozu's influence in this film so much. And just, it's pinnacle Wim Wenders. It's like an 8 or 9 out of 10. Such a good movie. I can't explain how incredible the characters are. Lastly, on this set, you've also got A Trick of the Light, which is basically about German cinema in the late 1800s, the birth of German cinema. It's interesting. I mean, you've got some interviews with family, and it's kind of like a pseudo-documentary. They've got reenacted scenes. It's pretty interesting. Moving on now to Wim Wenders' road movies. This is an absolutely awesome set. It's got 2 incredibly good movies. So it's got Alice in Cities, follows a writer as he's left with this 9-year-old kid, and he has to trek from New York to Amsterdam to Berlin. It's so funny, beautifully shot, just a lovely, incredibly lovely movie, and showing Wim Wenders in his best state, and he's only a young director there. It's incredible. You've also got Wrong Move on there. Not an incredible film, but still a really good performance from Rudiger Vogler, who is on all the 3 of these films. And lastly, you've got The Incredible Kings of the Road. Awesome film about this film projectionist who just meets a ton of people. It's just such an interesting film. Kind of the dynamic depth of characters that someone like Shortcuts director, this is Robert Altman, sorry. I shouldn't have forgot that one. Next, you've got The American Friend. Now, I haven't actually seen this. This is meant to be an incredible film with Dennis Hopper. Meant to be amazing. Can't wait to check it out. We've also got The Wings of Desire. I love this film so much. If you haven't seen it, like, it's a pinnacle Wim Wenders film, like Paris, Texas, that you just have to check out and see how incredibly beautiful the cinematography and acting are. You've got Lands of Plenty. Again, I haven't seen this film, but it's meant to be incredible. And then you've got 2 more Wim Wenders films. So you've got The Island and From the Family of Reptiles, which basically it follows this little girl who's like obsessed with the crocodiles. Is it crocodiles? Alligators? I think it's crocodiles. Crocodiles at the zoo. And it's just her communication with her family and the psychologist and understanding the psyche of a little girl. It's such an interesting film, and really, like, all of these films are so worth it. If you can get your hands on this collection, please do. You will not regret it. This collection has made me hold Wim Wenders in like the top 10 directors of all time. It is so incredible. You have to get it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment if you have anything to say or recommend me any films. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. Okay, thanks for watching.